Welcome back to our biological science class with your digital teacher. Thank you for your support and for subscribing to our channel. We did look at the overview of genetics in our last video. In this video, we'll be looking at why should we study genetics? Why study genetics? It is known that vitamin A is responsible for bright sight and also help to fight against diseases. Many years ago, the earth was hit with a wave of vitamin A deficiency. This led to countless number of deaths all around the world, especially in Asia and Africa. What could have led to this ugly occurrence? And what would be the solution? Scientists soon realized that the staple food consumed by countries most hit by this pandemic was rice. They then sought for a way to modify rice such that it provides vitamin A. This led to the production of golden rice. Scientists then infused rice with a gene that could biosynthesize beta-carotene, which is the precursor for vitamin A. So when we eat rice, vitamin A is synthesized. Could you ever imagine a plant producing two fruits, such as tomato plants? Having tomato at the stem and potato at the root. So tomato plus potato gives us tomato plants. Yes, quite interesting, right? That's not all. Scientists have found a way to infuse the gene into a plant or an animal to produce a special kind of brand or of variety. This we call genetically modified organisms. Other examples are berry. The apple have been genetically modified. The featherless chicken and the salmon, they are all genetically modified organisms. All these and many more GMOs were made possible by the concept of genetics. That is why we have to study genetics, because most of the food we eat are genetically modified. So, what is genetics? Genetics is the branch of biology that deals with heredity and genetic variation. Let's look into the basic terms. Let us understand the term heredity. Here is one happy family. If we observe the kid, she has few characteristics like his mom and few like his dad. This is because he has inherited these from both parents. The passing of traits or characters from parents to their offspring is called heredity. So, heredity is the passing of traits or characters from parents to their offsprings. What do we mean by characters or traits? Take a look at the child. He has black eyes like the mom, while the father has blue eyes. The color of eyes is a character, while the blue and the black are the traits. Similarly, there are different kinds of eye color. Another type of character is height. While tall and short are the traits. Another is hair color, while black and blonde are the traits. The passing of traits from one generation to another is called heredity. And what has been passed to the next generation is referred to as inheritance. Now tell me one thing. If this child has inherited traits from his mother and father, why did he look different from them? Why is he not an exact copy of the two of them? This is because of variation. Yes, variation. Variation is defined as the differences that exist between organisms in a population. Variation arises as a result of genetic differences and the environment of organisms. So, who laid the foundation of genetics? Is no other person but an Austrian monk called Gregor Mendel. Yes, Gregor Mendel is regarded as the father of modern day genetics through his experiment with pea plants. Gregor Johann Mendel was very curious while working in his pea garden on how characters are being transferred from parent to offspring. He observed that a particular pea plant only gives rise to its own kind. For example, plants with purple flower only give rise to purple flower plants, while also plants with white flowers only give rise to other plants with white flower. How could this be possible? A question then popped up in his mind. What if I mix purple flowered plant with white flowered plant? What will be the result? Before we get into that, we need to understand why he chose Pisum sativum, the green pea plant. This is because he needed a plant that would be annual plant and not perennial. Plant that could grow in a short period of time. A plant that could grow and reproduce recurrently within a year and having a small life cycle. He also needed a plant that would require minimum requirements to grow and reproduce. Also, he needed a plant with constructing characters. He needed a plant with constructing characters that would be easily observable, such as the purple flower and the white flower. So he chose a total of 7 constructing characters observed in pea plants. So let's look at the 7 constructing characters chosen by Mendel for his experiment. 1. Plant height. Some of his pea plants were tall, where some were short. Flower color. Some of his flowers were purple, while others were bearing white flower. Flower position. Some of his pea plants were having a axial position, while some were terminal in position. Next was the seed shape. Some pea plants were bearing a round seed, while some were wrinkled seed. Next is the seed color. The seed color. Some of his plants were having yellow seeds, while others were having green. The pod color, having either green pod or the yellow pod. Next is the pod shape. Some of the pea plants were having inflated pod shape and some were constricted or flat. Those were the 7 constructing characters studied by Gregor Mendel in his experiments. Little did he know that he was building the foundation for modern day genetics. So let's look at the procedures and the results that he got from his experiments. As said earlier, it was observed that purple flowered plants only give rise to purple flowered plants, while the white ones give rise to a white flowered plant. So Mendel wondered, if I cross a purple pea plant and a white flowered pea plant, what will be the result? It should be expected to give rise to an intermediate colored plant. But do you want to know how Mendel go about his experiments? Let's take a look at that. Mendel had to choose a plant to represent the female plant and another to represent the male plant. This is because pea plants are bisexual, having both male parts and the female part of the flower. Mendel had to choose whether the purple flower plant would be the male and the white flower plant to be the female, or vice versa. For this, he had to carry out a process called emasculation. What do we call emasculation? As the name implies, masculine means the male. So, he had to turn one of the flower into a female plant by carrying out emasculation. Emasculation is simply the removal of the male part of the flower, turning it into a female flower. This is done in order to prevent the plant to self-pollinate. So Mendel took pollen grains from the purple flower and deposited it on the stigma of the emasculated flower. This results into fertilization and production of seeds, that is, crossing of the purple flower plant and the white flowered plant. It will be expected that this crossing should give rise to a plant with an intermediate color of flower, right? But that was not the result he got. He produced plants that have purple flower all through. So you wonder, what could have happened to the white character of the white flowered plant? So crossing a white flowered plant with a purple flowered plant only give rise to a purple flowered pea plant all through, with no white flowered plant. Interestingly, when he crossed the resulting plants from his first cross, he produced few plants with white flower in the ratio 75 purple flower to 25% white flower. What could have led to this? Let us understand this in our next video, where we will look into the details of Gregor Mendel's first experiments. Watch out for our next video. Subscribe to our channel to get more updates of our teachings. Till I come your way next time. Bye.